Conversation with myself like this better work. That's why I get peace of myself almost every verse. I spent my whole life grinding, I ain't asked for help. I used to starve as a kid, I had to feed myself. Remember all the hard times we kept trying, and we rise and we fall. The times we had to walk, now we stay flying. Now we grind till we ball. I'm with it all, I be the one you looking for with the call. We fuss and argue, I ain't mean it at all. Tell me what's real, ain't no one perfect, understand how you feel. But when you yelling, I don't hear you for real. Looking for peace, I'm out here grinding every day of the week. It gets annoying when you don't let me speak. Playing for keeps, you won't get over trying to play under me. I'm not a child, so why you playing with me? Can never read what's on your mind, understanding nothing given. Not getting loud with you, coming off as something different. Trying to get shit off my chest, I'm never pressed when you stop bitching. Know the signs when you get moody, you just wanting me to listen.
Okay.
Want the money and the time, young finesse said it's the same. Want the time and the money, I'm the one that take the blame. Every problem, the solution, always meant for me to change. Learn to weather all of the storms, but can never stop the rain. I admit on my behalf, still got room for me to grow. And your happiness ain't on me, that's for you to learn and know. Not a care, not a worry when you're sitting next to me. When the odds come up missing, hit your phone and cannot reach. When alone, find a peace, still be wanting you and me. When I'm trying to clear my head, late night cruising through the streets. Sipping help me numb the pain, going rounds with you again. Try to leave or work through it to the end. I'm with it all, I be the one you looking for with the call. We fuss and argue, I ain't mean it at all. Tell me what's real, ain't no one perfect, understand how you feel. But when you yelling, I don't hear you for real. Looking for peace, I'm out here grinding every day of the week. It gets annoying when you don't let me speak. Playing for keeps, you won't get over trying to play under me. I'm not a child, so why you playing with me? Welcome to another episode of Artist to Artist at the AV Club. It's your boy Westside, and I got a special guest with me today.
So you just gonna ignore the song? You ain't gonna go in on the song? You ain't gonna be like, yo, that's me right there, boy. That's me right there. Why you ain't playing that on the radio, dude? What's up? This just shoot your shot, bro.
So this record is called Child's Play 2.
Nice.
It's a sequel. I made an original version. It plays off the idea of basically someone being in a relationship with someone, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes we have hard times and that person might find somebody else they might find comfort in. So the first version comes from that third party person looking at the girl in a relationship that she's not happy in, but she's happy with him. But regardless of what they got going on, she goes back to the relationship.
Ah, man.
The second one plays from the ideal of the guy that's in the relationship that is bumping heads with her, but regardless of how hard he get, he comes back and he try to make it work.
Right. That's reality.
Yeah.
That's reality. That's what's up. All right, now you can start the podcast.
Let's go. What's good? It's your boy Westside, and I'm here with another episode of Artist to Artist at the AV Club, and I got a special guest with me today.
Yes, Papa Keith from 103.5 The Beat, JustVotePeriod.com. I'm in the building. Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate you, brother.
I thank you so much, man. This opportunity came by from the homie P Streets.
Yeah, shout out to P
Shout out to
Streets.
P.
One of my favorite artists, no doubt, man, from the city doing his thing. I got to shout him out real quick because, you know, like being in the radio business, I get so much artists hitting me up, and not a lot of them are humble.
Yeah.
Westside, a lot of them is like, yo, I'm the hottest right now. But they don't, really put in the work, like, getting to like, really connect with the radio personalities or the DJs. They just act like, like we supposed to. You
like
know what
they're
I'm saying?
entitled.
Very entitled. You know what I'm saying? And P Streets used to come out to events I would do, like simple things like buy me a drink, built a relationship, and now I actually really like him. And now we actually really friends. You know what I mean? I play by the rules, but, if there's an opportunity for him to get a one-up at any event I'm doing, he's on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Based on the relationship. So, shout out to P Streets, Trizzy, that whole Seven Family team, man. I just like the way they operate.
Yeah, I have both of them in here. Real down-to-earth person.
Yeah, real cool.
I got to thank also my homie Reem. He was the one that connected me with P Streets.
Nice. Shout out Reem.
Shout out to him. And, when he came in, real great spirit, energy, humble, down-to-earth person. And you just take to him. You know, when you meet him, you like.
So no disrespect, right?
Yeah.
For all the respect. That's a strong reason of also why I'm here. Because respectfully, I was trying to figure out, because I have a crazy busy schedule, but he put me on task, I'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And again, just based on the relationship. I mean, we've known each other maybe 3-4 years max.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But that's what we built, you know, in that time. So I would encourage artists to, like, you know, not to say you got to be best friends with your local radio personality, but just, you know, how you know, manifest relationships and how you build with people. It can really open up doors for you and others.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's real. Honestly, since my process of being an artist and doing my research, a lot of interviews that I've seen when it comes to like big artists that were on the up, like coming up, they always made a relationship, whether it was a producer, a radio, or whether it was a DJ in a club. They started that relationship. So you take a Future, he made a relationship with Metro and DJ Esco. So Metro was making the beats, Esco was running the clubs and DJing in the clubs. And that was part of his formula as far as blowing up out of Atlanta.
And look at that. Look how that worked out for the team. You know?
Yeah. And now they all on top. So that's an amazing thing. That's actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. Like, you know, in this out here it's so big. You know, it's a lot of artists out here that are trying to get on the scene and things like that. So I was going to ask you, like, what is some advice you would give an artist that's trying to get on? Like, you know, what should they be trying to do as far as?
Out the gate is like, understand what you're doing it for. You know, like, there's different categories you could put, and none of them are wrong.
Yeah.
But you need to understand what you're doing it for. You know what I mean? Some people, it's a form of expression, right? Like, they want to be an artist so they can get things off their chest. It's therapy. It's all these different things, and that's cool too. Some artists want to be big in their area. They want to be the man in their area. They want to be known in their area. They want all of that. Some artists want a record deal.
Yeah.
They want to have that opportunity of getting a record deal, of being nationally known, all these different things. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some artists that's just doing it for fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a hobby. You know, like, hey, they work or they do what they do and they want to invest in this because it gives them something to do. Yeah. You need to figure out what that category is, because if you don't, you're going to be all over the place and you're going to be barking up the wrong trees. You understand? Yeah. So I have a lot of artists that may come and be like, yo, I want my song on the radio. They have no idea what media base is. They don't know what it is. So I'll explain what media base is. Media base is a subscription or a company that counts how many times your song is being played on the radio. They don't know about things like BMI and ASCAP, right? Where your music is registered and stuff like that. So you want your song on the radio, but you're not doing the basic things in order to make it make sense for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you recognize what you're doing it for, then you can eliminate or add what you need to do to be successful in whatever realm that is. Yeah. So if your job is like, okay, I'm doing this because I want a record deal and I want to, you know, be like the people I'm watching on TV or, you know, Future and all of them, well, then there's steps you need to take, like entertainment lawyer, educating yourself, getting yourself a real manager, not your friend. All these different things in order for you to be prepared for what comes with that. Otherwise, you just come into a radio personality and saying, hey, I want my song on the radio, and I say, why? And you can't answer because you just want your friends in the area or you just want to hear your song. Be able to hear your song. Yeah. It's a waste. No, it's a waste. Even if I do it. Yeah. Even if I do it, West Side, even if I say, okay, West Side, I'm play Child's Play on the radio, it does nothing for you. Yeah. You know, wouldn't you want it to count if you're trying to get a record deal? Yeah. Do you know that it takes 200 spins on the radio in order for a record label to even consider you or think about you? It's like, it's a lot that, you know, of education and information that goes into it. So I would really love if people would understand the reason, you know, what's the why behind you being an artist, you know? So this is the reason why I created this platform, because when I started doing music, I didn't necessarily know how to go about it. It was a situation where I got offered the opportunity to write for a song. I did it. I created a song, let people hear it. They're like, yo, you should keep going. And then so on and so forth. And it's like a lot of trial and error in your process. Yes. A lot of do it yourself, a lot of learning things yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of artists that get started, especially now because social media, you know, you can do everything from your phone damn near nowadays. And, you know, a lot of people are missing on the information. And I created this platform to have people like you know, artists also to come on to share their experiences, give information so they have something they can go to and learn. You know what I mean? No, absolutely. And, you know, we in an era now with everything that you just said where the artistry has grown, right? So now it's almost like everybody's an artist. Everybody's a DJ. Yeah. So with that being said, like, what are you doing to make yourself different? And it's unfortunately, I feel like we in an era where everybody is kind of like mocking and copying each other.
Yeah.
Everybody sounds the same. Everybody got Lil in front of their name, you know. Where, you know, I'm a bit older, so I grew up from an era where it was all about individuality. Even artists used to make themselves into like characters or like almost clowns, so to speak, in order just to be different from others. You had your serious rappers, you had your not so serious rappers, you had a plethora of different type of artists, but they all had their individuality. Whereas now it seems like we in an era where everybody's copying each other, or everybody sounds alike, everybody looks alike, everybody's, you know, got the same kind of thing going on. So it just makes it even harder to break from that, you know?
Yeah. It kind of remind me like back when you see personalities like a Missy Elliott when she came in with the Superfly and doing the bag.
Look at Digital Underground, which Tupac was on with the fake nose and glasses.
Humpty,
like it worked. You know what I'm saying?
It did. And honestly, I feel like a lot of times now, just because of social media, we have so much access to people. You know, I was talking to someone the other day, and it was like social media basically gave us too much access.
Too much.
Like, we know what everybody's doing. It's nothing to just get on your phone and just scroll, and you don't even realize how much time.
And then not only that, just to add on to that, you only know about too much of what they want you to see, the good stuff. So you don't see the struggle, you don't see, so it also gives a lot of these young artists a warped reality of how things work.
Yeah.
They don't get to see the rough side of things. So now when those things come up, they don't know how to manage them because there's no examples out there of how shitty it is, or getting a door slammed in your face, or somebody telling you no. There's only examples of everybody saying yes, and the rewards and the accolades and the big ups. There's nothing on the negative side. You know what I'm saying? So
no, that's real. So one of the questions I always love to ask is, where does music start for you? And the reason I ask that is because we all get our introduction to music from somewhere. So like, for example, with me growing up, I grew up with a lot of older people, right? My cousins was all at least 4 or 5 years older than me. So when I got into the space of listening to music, Tupac, Biggie, you know what I mean? And then I had a female cousin who was listening to Lauryn Hill, you know what I mean? With Faith Evans. So I was getting an organic mixture of sounds. My mom, a lot of island and rhythm type music. So who would you give credit to as far as like music, and what was that music for?
Well, I would say the introduction would be my father. He was an album collector back in the days, and my girl gets on me now because I just bought a record player, right?
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I bought this record. I used to have records. I used to collect records, and then after a while, when it became obsolete, it went into CDs and it went into other things. I kind of was like, it don't make no sense. You know, it's so big. But now it's kind of made a comeback, right? Records.
Yeah.
So whether you get it at Best Buy, or whether you get it at that clothing store in the mall, I'm forgetting the name of it. But so it's so funny because I bought a record player, and I was like, I want that nostalgia back in my life. And I picked up 2 albums the other day. I picked up Drake's Scorpion, and I picked up the new 21 Savage album from Best Buy.
Record.
You know, and she looking at me like, another excuse to spend money. But I couldn't really explain it at the time. But now that you asked me this question, is really making me remember as a kid, my father used to collect albums. And I remember as a kid, at a young age, I was just obsessed and, with just going through the albums and the different musics and stuff like that. And from jazz to soca, because, my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Shout out to Trinidad.
Yeah. So my father, would have a lot of soca records, and I remember I would just, go. And then when hip hop kind of evolved, and they were scratching and cutting, I remember I would be on this turntable that was not built for that, but I'd be scratching and cutting until I was able to get a turntable as a Christmas gift. One turntable. West Indian parents, they very frugal when they want to be. If they don't believe in something, they'll give you one. So I played with that one turntable until I got, summer jobs and was able to buy another. And then I became like a DJ and really got involved with it. And that was like kind of like when hip hop was just really, emerging and stuff like that. So I would have to say my father.
See, when you brought up the process of buying a record, it kind of reminded me of, like, I had a conversation exactly what happened to the experience of music. Because I feel like now Spotify and all these platforms that make music so accessible. So we're not gravitating or getting the experience from music like we used to,
Right.
So before, when you wanted to hear an album, you had to go to the store, get your money together, buy the album.
Yep.
You listen to it, you flip through the pages of the little book that came with different photos and the track listing.
And then you would listen to every song.
Yeah, you would listen to every song. You listen to it when you was getting in the car, you taking a shower, wherever you was listening to it, and it built memories and a relationship with you. So like my first album that I've ever had, my dad bought it. It was The Blueprint.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z.
Yeah,
so when I got that album and I listened to the songs to this day, like that is my favorite album when it comes to music.
Because of the connection.
Because of the connection. And I feel like now, you know, the amount of work that goes into creating the album is still the same. You still got to go in and, you know, you got to make these records, create the listing and everything. But the relationship on the audience side is different. So I was trying to figure out what is a new way of replicating that, because of course we can go back to making records, right? I know that's one of them, right? Creating records, making that experience for them to where they cherish the music more than just, okay, new song out, play it 3 times, next, because it's like 1,000 songs a day that's dropping.
Well, it's going to be extremely hard, right? Because we're in an era now where, because of how things come so fast and easy, nobody has patience, right? So they continue to want things faster and easier. So there's literally companies out there that are focused on doing that. So that's not going to change. That's how we get AI. That's how we get everything fast and easy. So it's going to continue with that. What I would do is I would challenge fans of artists and fans of music to actually start back. And I've been pushing this on the radio. Like when I interview like artists, I would actually say this. I would be like, don't purchase singles. Purchase the album. And listen to it. I look at whether it's your album, Westside, or anybody else's album, 21 Savage, Drake, whomever, Future, Kendrick Lamar. I just had to mention all of them. I would challenge the listener, or even other artists who are fans of artists and music, to actually listen to the whole album. How I look at it and what I explain, even when I talk on the radio, is I say, it's the full body of work. It's like a story that they're trying to tell you. So if you just pick out, you ever argue with your girl? And you talking and you saying what you got to say, and at the end of saying what you got to say, she just picks out what she wants to pick out of the conversation and throw it back at you because it's either the things that offended her or concern her, and she's not listening to the entire conversation of what you're trying to say. She's just picking out what she got to throw back at you. Well, that's kind of like how I look at it, you know what I'm saying? And I even have to do a better job of it, and it's why I bought the record player, you know? So we need to start listening to the full body of artists' work. We need to download or buy albums instead of singles. And I think that'll be a great start to be able to build those relationships you're talking about with the music and the artists.
Okay, I like that. So I want to ask you, like, what was your favorite era of music? Like, what's your era that you say between these years, some of the best music I ever heard came out?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm such a fan of the evolution of music as well. You know, like, you know, whether I'm considered an old head now in music or OG as they call me. I struggled with that for a little bit, but I own it now. It's fine. And I'll tell you why I struggled with it too. But what happened is that I find that as music evolves, I find things about it to take away and enjoy. So what I'm noticing now is that similar to the, you know, the era, I guess, Puff Daddy era. Where a lot of the old school 60s and 70s tracks were being sampled in the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm finding now in the 2020s, those samples are being resampled again. You know what I'm saying? Or they're digging further back into the 70s to sample certain songs. And even when you listen to, I was watching it on social media and I was just so amazed. Even like, They Not Like Us. They like biggest song out right now, Kendrick Lamar. And I found someone who pulled a Sanford and Son theme song. They Not Like Us. They not. And I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? I was so impressed. And then someone else pulled it from another song in the 70s, like another completely different song, and drew correlation there. So I don't know what Mustard pulled from, you know, who produced the beat, Mustard on the beat, whether he pulled from one or both of them. But the fact that in the 2020s that we're still moving in that space of, you know, sampling music and great music, I'm still a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was more of the era that I came from. You know what I mean? Was like sampling from the 70s, and my era, I guess I would say, was more of the 90s, 2000. So because they still do that now, you know, I found myself, you know, really just being a fan of music from then till now. And then, of course, my earlier years where the music was being sampled from and researching that music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really say an era because I love all the eras for their different reasons. But I would say the one that I was most impactful in my life was the 90s to 2000s.
Yeah, that's my era too, the golden era.
Yeah,
I love that run of music from
R&B, hip hop.
Donnell Jones,
even reggae. Reggae was super amazing.
It's crazy because I play those songs and they'll be like, "Oh, you playing the oldies?" I'm like, "Oh, this is oldies." I didn't even know.
Well, to my point of people calling me OG, and I had a problem with, but now I don't. You know, to address that. My situation is that I was just more so defending the fact that we seem to age our music, but with the youngest genre. Yeah. So I hate the fact that we are always quick to like dismiss. Yeah. You know, our older music, but we're the newest genre of music in comparison to rock and jazz and blues,
country.
So I hate when hip hop does that. Yeah, I really do. Like hip hop has just celebrated its 50th birthday. Why are we like aging things? Like we should have some more respect, and we should, you know, really, you know, embellish in the fact that we're so young in an era of music, and not be so quickly dismissive. And just remember, like you may dismiss it now, but you're gonna get older at some point, and you would want people to appreciate your music the same way.
And the crazy thing about it is, when you look at other genres of music, you can see some of their legends still performing
in wheelchairs
to this day. On the walker, still singing their country song, and they're out there singing with them.
That part.
And I feel like it hurts hip hop for the sense of, because it's always young thing, right?
Right.
I feel like the genre gets controlled not by us, because young and dumb coming in, I just need some money. I'm gonna sign here. I don't know what I'm signing. And then, and now I can control you how I want to, because you don't have the information.
And that's exactly
And the artists that learn through experience and trial and error, I'm going to push them out the back door, and you never even going to see them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So that's why I didn't like OG, but then I embraced it when I found out it was really like a respect thing too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like old man or OG, like, you know, it was also a respect thing. So I was like, all right. I'll meet you halfway.
That's real though. But another question I have for you is, when it came to like growing up, right? So like you, Super Cindy, you know, DJs and radio host personalities, like those are the ones I grew up on. Who was the one that you grew up listening to?
Terry Alexander, the Bad Boy Radio, who was actually my mentor on radio. I got an opportunity. Yes, round of applause for TA, to work with him, you know, and he helped me out to shape me to be the radio personality I am today. So I want to give him a shout out for that. Also, it was a young lady named Darnella Dunham, who also helped me to understand the radio business and got me involved. First invited me over to 99 Jams, which is the first station I started with in 1999. So, you know, I want to salute them. Earlier days in radio, just listening as a fan of radio. I've always been a fan of radio. There was cats like Frankie Crocker that was out back in the days, you know what I'm saying, when I was a kid listening. So, you know, Lady D, you know, used to listen to her back in the days, you know what I mean? So all those people I salute, you know, for sure.
Okay. And did you always know you wanted to get into radio? Because I know you said you always was into it as far as listening to it, but did you know from the jump, like, you know, at some point I'm going to be on the radio, I'm going to be doing that?
Weirdly enough, yes. Okay. Only because when I first got discovered when I first discovered radio, I used to mock all of the radio personalities. So they would talk, and I would be, as a kid, mocking them. Hey, most of the time they had deep voices like, hey, bad boy radio, Terry Alexander. And I used to be like, hey, it's a bad boy of radio, Bob Keith. That was legit, right? So I used to mock them. But the part where I kind of figured, like, I'll probably end up in this direction at some point is when I thought that these people were, as a kid, because I want y'all to think I'm crazy. Yeah. As a kid, I actually thought that radio personalities were inside of the radio. So I had a boombox. So I used to open,
like, where he destroy
it. I used to open up the boomboxes, try to find the man and woman talking inside there. Like, I thought there was little people.
He might be buying a battery.
Right. I thought little people was inside the radio talking, until I figured out transistors and and the technical stuff, and started educating myself on how radio really works. But I did start off being a DJ, did start off being a MC and a host, working with DJs, talking, so the two are parallel. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was Darnella Dunham who was like, man, you need health insurance. DJs don't have health insurance.
Yeah. See that even with rap, there's a lot of things like that, they're not aware of. And a lot of times they go in signing these papers. Right. And not taking consideration. I need to carve out some money for that.
Right. Well, they see the glitz and the glamour and the glory, so they figure that's the last thing they think of. They think they're going to have so much money and they'll toss some money in the air, so health insurance is the last thing they're thinking of. Plus, when you're young, which most, the rappers are these days, you think you're going to live forever.
Yeah. All right. So let me also ask this, because I know there's going to be people watching this that want to do what you do, right? What advice would you give to them as far as, like, getting that opportunity to be on the radio someday and be able to, maybe sit next to you one day?
I mean, listen, the reality of it is that we would love to see, like, more of the young people get involved with broadcasting, which is what it is, radio broadcasting. But they're not. Unfortunately and fortunately, there's social media, right? So I call social media the gift and the curse. It could do amazing things, but it can also destroy a lot of things as well in the process. So I'm finding there's not a lot of young folks that want to do radio broadcasting anymore, because they have their own voices on social media, on podcasts like we're doing now, and other forms of things, which are good. Yeah. But obviously we want this to grow. We want to pass this on to other people. There's certain things in radio broadcasting that you can do that you can't do on a podcast, or you can't do on your own social media. You know what I mean? I talked to over 3 million people. Have an opportunity, just Miami-Dade, if you expand it to, the Tri-County, it's probably more than that can tune in and listen to me for free on their radios and stuff like that. As much as people think that radio is a dying thing, it can never die. Yeah. It's governed by the FCC. There's certain things, at the end of the day, we're human beings, right? So although I can listen to Spotify and I can listen to podcasts all day long, at some points we want some human interaction, some live check-in, right? So whether you come to, you putting on your radio and you give me 5 minutes, 7 minutes of your time, just, and then I play something you don't want to hear it and switch, that's fine. Or whether you want to hear the weather or the traffic report, because those are things that Spotify or your podcast will never be able to give you. If you want to hear how close the hurricane is coming, Spotify is never going to give you that. So there's certain key things that radio provides that you cannot really get anywhere else, and that will continue to make us special. So, I mean, listen, I would love to encourage, like, some young folks to really tap in with radio broadcasting. It's an amazing art. I love what I do. I've always wanted to do that. At one point, some people saw it as a stepping stone for other things like acting and stuff like that. Yeah. I never saw it that way. I always loved it in its true art form, just talking to people and them not being able to see you, but using your voice, your inflection, and your energy to kind of, like, shape people's day. That's how I look at it. Like, I help to shape your day. Like, you could be having a shitty day, and then I come on the radio and I've got all this energy and I'm saying something and it made you laugh, and you're like, damn, okay. You know what I mean? Like, that helped. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I view it. I look myself as like your therapist, your advisor, your mentor, and tidbits of information, your comedian, all these different things wrapped up into one 6 days a week for 4 hours,
Yeah, you're in a lot of people's lives on a daily basis. Right. Like, we never look at it from that perspective. Like, oh, this person wakes up every day, get in their car, and I'm the first person they might listen
Right,
to
you know?
or talk to in a sense. You know what I mean? Or the people that calling in because they want an opportunity to receive something, whether it's cash or tickets.
And it's a
things like that.
one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
If you tune on a radio station and a radio personality is doing their job properly and they understand how radio works, it's supposed to be a one-on-one conversation with you in your car. So when you tune in, I'm not talking to, hey, what's up, y'all?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? So these are things, these are crafts, these are things that we do as radio personalities. We're like your co-pilot, so to speak,
Yeah.
in the car if that's what you need. You know what I'm saying? And we always there. Hey, if your phone dies, if this happens, there's different things that can happen, right?
Yeah.
Where you can't use other tools, we always there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So to respond to what you said, and then I got one more question. So I know as far as me growing up, listening to the radio and hearing you on the radio, I didn't know that was achievable. You know what I mean? Certain things, if you never seen someone do it, it kind of looked far-fetched, like being a president. I don't know anybody, you know, that ran for president one, or, you know what I mean, even mayor. I had a talk with another artist, and we talked about running for mayor. Like, these are things that, you know, being young, black, you know, inner city area, you don't really see it close. So it's like you don't know that it's achievable and how to even go about that route. Like podcasting, it's a little bit different because we was at that age when it kind of started kicking off, and we knew some friends that started. So we like, oh, wait, how you did that? Okay, so I can start my own. But radio, it's like, well, how do I even achieve that? So that, I feel like that's the reason why, as far as like the younger generation, it may be like a wedge between, because it's like, we know you, but we don't know how to get to you or how to ask you questions to get in the room. And it just seems like, well, I can never get to radio. So,
well, two things. I'm going to answer that, and that's great. And just to let you know, that's like my life achievement.
Yeah.
So I'll get into the details of that, but I want to start with this. First, you got to let loose a little bit of ignorance, right? So what happens with a lot of, you know, younger folks is that when they don't understand something quick enough, they dismiss it, right? So, you know, although you're saying like, hey, I don't, you know, how do you connect with that and stuff like that? There's many ways. You could literally DM me. I don't think I've not responded to anybody who hasn't DM'd me in some kind of fashion. You know what I'm saying? So, but a lot of it is pride. A lot of it is like those things, you know, laziness, or I'm not sure. It could be a plethora of different reasons why.
Or they may feel like you might not even take the time out. Like they don't know that you're responding.
Or that. Or that. But so if you want something bad enough, those are the things you're gonna have to understand in life, that you're gonna have to like shake the, you know, the ego or shake the fear and step forward into that space that you want to be in. You know what I mean? Not everything comes to you. Sometimes you have to go at it. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, but go at it. So one thing all of that you just said just really made me think of something too. It's literally my life's work. Literally my life's work. Before I leave this earth, is I want to set so many examples and opportunities for people to be able to have a chance to see themselves doing a plethora of different things, either through opportunities I provide or through me doing it. All right. So I have a festival called People Matter Festival, right? That I do every year. This last one we had over.
It was big. Offset.
Yeah. We had over 10,000 people. We had Offset, Boss Man D-Lo, many others, right? A part of that festival, I had a wrestling ring there.
For real?
I did.
Okay.
Right. So what I do as a part of that festival is I bring certain things to that festival to let the kids see opportunities with the things that I'm bringing. Have you ever been to a festival and seen a wrestling ring and seen a live wrestling match? Besides WWE, if you're fortunate enough to afford a ticket, you won't have that. Same thing like you're saying. You won't know what it's like. There's an academy here in South Florida that teaches wrestling. Yeah. Black owned. You know what I'm saying? And research it on my Instagram. I show them love at Papa_Keith, right? But you know, so I wanted to introduce that. Like, if you want to be a wrestler, here you go. Yeah. I also have art installation. Not just art put up on the walls, but where kids under a 40-foot tent can draw their own canvases and go home with it. I could create the next Basquiat.
Yeah.
Just through that experience of them never being able to sit in front of a canvas and express themselves and have someone there to help them create that canvas. So in anything I do, I'm having a family fun day, and this is not a shameless plug. This is an invitation to everyone.
Yeah.
We're doing a family fun day, July 6th at Gwen Cherry Park.
Okay.
In Liberty City. It's open to everyone from West Palm to wherever you're from. I don't care. Pull up, right? It's absolutely free.
Okay.
Any event I do, I offer these opportunities for kids to have a free opportunity to experience different things that they may not normally experience, right?
Yeah.
At that park, Gwen Cherry Park, we built a studio, right? It's called Papa Keats Music and Media Studio.
Yeah.
Where we teach kids how to become musicians, recording artists, and radio personalities for free.
Okay.
Inside of Gwen Cherry Park. You understand? So to your point, how do kids, like that's been always a problem of mine is that, when people talk, well, okay, great. Keith, you up here talking about radio, but what are you doing to actually, what are your action items, right? To actually see what you want. You're saying you want young people to get involved. Well, what are you doing to see that happen? That's what I'm doing. I'm actually creating opportunities and building things that's going to live beyond me.
Yeah.
Legacy. I challenge everybody on that. What is your legacy? Two of my good friends challenged me on that. All right. Rashid Ali and Kenny Kamar challenged me. Keith, what is your legacy going to be? You're making this money. You're on the radio. Super cool. They challenged me on that 8 years ago, and it changed my life. So that's that birthed People Manifest. That birthed the studio. That birthed me coming on here and talking to you about all these different things. You know what I mean? Yeah. How am I gonna leave this place better than I entered it? What is my legacy? You know what I mean? So that's a part of it.
That's
what
big.
I'm saying?
That's big, and it's important. A lot of people, I don't think, look out past them. A lot of things are just me, but they don't look at it like what you doing, what example you set is going to set the tone for the next wave that's coming up. And with that right there, that's how I got my experience in the sense of media, like as far as using cameras, editing, and things like that. When I was in elementary school, I had a TV production class. And I got to work with cameras and use the soundboard. So it was like, me coming out of the hood, I don't know nothing about this. So me getting to use the cameras and seeing how morning announcements, I'm helping with the morning announcements. It's like, I could do that. Yeah. And look at you now. Yeah. When I came and asked you about the lights, the waffle lights, you explained that to me. You educated me. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it has to work, especially for us. Yeah. As brown and black people, because we always talk about the other cultures, right? And how they're so way ahead and how they work so well together and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to call them out. We all know the suspects. Yeah. But, we can do the same thing. We do it. And don't get that twisted. We try to make it seem like we don't, but we do. Yeah. We do it. We just need to do it more and more often. Yeah. So before you get out of here, I want to ask you, because I know you just started your podcast. Yeah. And I want you to, explain to everybody exactly what's your podcast, what are you talking about it, and where can they find it? Thank you so much. And before I talk about that, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, man. Thank you, man. This has been a great opportunity for me. And Westside, I appreciate you and your team. Appreciate it. All right. So I just started a podcast. Did the first one last week. It's called That Part Podcast. Co-hosted with lovely lady Janae Tate, who does Hilo News. It's hyper-local news here in South Florida. So talking about the changes that I made 8 years ago, I wanted to get more involved with community, right? And how my legacy can affect the community. Part of being involved with community is politics. You know what I mean? You could do all the community work you want in the world. If you're not involved politically, you ain't really moving the needle. Yeah. You're really not. So she was the one who in those early days helped connected me with a lot of the political figures in Miami-Dade County. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the commissioners, a lot of the movers and shakers. With that, obviously me being on the radio was an easy connection, right? They want something from me, I want something from them,
but I'm Robin Hood in this, right? So whatever I'm getting from you, I'm using it to help out the community, including communities I'm not even from. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
So it's
Shouts out
not
to
like
Brooklyn.
I'm from Liberty City or anything like that, but I have an affection for it. I spent time in there. I spent time in the pork and beans,
Yeah.
you know, and knowing P Streets and shout out to Stacks, Free Stacks, you know, so having that relationship with them and seeing the struggles in there, you know, I wanted to do something, you know? So I got involved with community, but like I said, a part of it is politics. So I grew to enjoy wanting to learn and being activated with politics, right?
Yeah.
Because I could only do so much. They control things. So unless you are playing that game, you know what I'm saying? It's on you reach a ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be connected with these people. I wanted to learn and understand how politics works. And I've been doing that for the last 8 years, really immersing myself in that. And she's been pivotal in assisting me with that. So with this huge election that we got, that's pretty much
this
here,
gonna be big, yeah.
right? Local elections, Miami-Dade County mayor's up for election. We got the supervisor of election for Broward County up for election. We got the supervisor of elections, Miami-Dade County, up for election. We have the presidential election in November. The other ones I mentioned are in August, right? August 20th. You know, I wanted to do this podcast to have the younger folks be prepared and understand the importance of voting. So I started off first by doing this campaign called JustVotePeriod.com, which is literally catered to millennials and younger to get them involved with the voting process. Instead of saying, oh, I don't want to vote because my vote doesn't count. Oh, I don't want to vote because of what's going on with Hamas and Israel. Oh, I don't want to vote. Instead of making excuses of why you don't want to vote, understanding that you need to make an excuse to vote.
Yeah.
There's going to be a situation where there's two people, pick the better of the two.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
The lesser two evils.
I'm not I'm not telling you who to vote for.
Yeah.
But one is going to say stuff or do stuff that you're going to be a little bit more for than the other. Because once you don't do anything, you leave it up to everyone else to make that decision for you. Then my other thing is that the local elections are much more effective on your daily life than voting for the president. People come out to vote for the president, super cool, love it. They don't come out to vote for their local politicians that set your water bill, that set that pothole being fixed, that set that light that needs to be at that intersection.
More immediately. Yeah.
More immediately and more in your daily life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you want that Walmart sitting, you know, 2 blocks from your house that's going to bring a certain element or all these different things? So getting them to understand that, to research and bring the information to them. Okay, yeah, you want to vote about weed. We get that. Yeah, you want to vote about abortion. Those things are important and cool as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more shit involved
that's to be decided on
that you need to know about. So let me help you with that. Let me put everything on this webpage, make it real simple. If you're not registered to vote, you can get the link to vote there. If you want to vote by mail, which is the easiest thing in the world to do, but you got to register to do it, that's right there for you. So now the podcast now gives me a voice to connect with these local officials before their elections to help you make better decisions. You know what I mean? So that's what the podcast, that part podcast is about. It's really connecting with these local officials in the first series leading up to that election in August 20th, get with a lot of the local people who are running, hear what they have to say so you can make a better decision. Then after that, we go into the second series from September to November where we focus on those bills like abortion, we focus on those bills like marijuana legalizations, and then we focus on the presidential election. By the way, there's a debate this Thursday y'all should check out.
Yeah, tune in.
On CNN, right?
Yeah.
So that's the series that we're doing with that part podcast, and that's the purpose of us, you know, doing this podcast is really to be informative and to make it cool and fun.
Yeah.
You know, not to use big words and confuse y'all, you know, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Talk for everyday people just trying to understand. It is scary. I'm telling you, it was scary for me. I didn't vote prior until Barack Obama became, you know, for Barack Obama twice because he was black. But that's not enough.
Yeah.
You know, I may have realized now maybe I wouldn't have voted for Barack Obama. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now I can educate myself on things and policies and understand things a lot better where I could make a better decision. and not be scared and not be disenfranchised, because that's what they want. They want you to not give a shit. They want you to be turned off. They want you to not to give away your vote. That's why they're making it easier for you. And you know what sparked that? And I'll end with this. What sparked Just Vote Period for me and what sparked that podcast, I remember when it was Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at Cafe Iguana Pines. I know that was a hot spot that people can remember.
Shout out to Cafe Iguana.
All right?
Yeah.
It's now closed, but it was the hot spot back then. And I remember I rented out the smaller room they had. Remember they have the big room?
Yeah, that room on the side.
And then they had a smaller room on the side. I rented it out to be able to show the election, right? And to see who won. And the other side, they had a party. Just a, their normal regular party. I remember I'm sitting in that room and there's only 20 of us. Just 20 of us. Yeah. And I had it decorated and we had the TVs on and then I'm looking, because it was a glass where you could see the other side. The room is packed over there. And all I'm in, people listening to music, eating chicken wings, drinking, not a care in the world. And I'm in this other room watching, your whole life, like who's going to be running the country, who's going to be making decisions that's going to be affecting y'all, whether it's immigration, whether it's all these different things. Yeah. And everybody thought that Hillary had it in the bag or whatever they thought. And I watched Trump become president. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't judge. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't tell nobody who to vote for ever. But I watched Trump win the election. And everybody on the other side eating chicken wings. And Hennessy, you know what I'm saying? And not a care in the world, not even like engaged. And it's just 20 of us in here and we like, wow. Yeah. History just happened. Yeah, history just happened. And what's next? So that's what sparked it for me. How can I get not all them people in the next room? How could I have gotten 100? Yeah. How can I have at least just packed the room? At least
half of them come in here.
Oh, not even half, bro. Yeah. I'd have been happy for 50 to 100. More people just to join me in that room and then go back out and enjoy the chicken wings after the election. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
That'd have been even better if they, Obama in, all right, let's go back and party. You know what I mean? It's a great segue. I would have been so happy with that. You know what I'm saying? So my job is to get 100 of them people in that room. You know what I'm saying? You could still eat the chicken wings and the Hennessy, but care about what the hell's going on for a minute. I appreciate you doing that, because especially for the younger group, we don't necessarily get that information, especially with the stuff like mayor and things like that. Yeah. President is always big poster plaster headlines. Who's going to run for president? And we all look at that, but we're not looking at what's going on down here.
What's really important.
And this is even more important because this affects you immediately. Yeah, he can make a decision, but he got to go talk to them. And then they got to go vote. And then they come to a decision whether it happens. But this right here is even more immediate. Yeah. They can decide whether down the street, whether they can carry firearms or not or whatever, all kind of laws. So definitely going to be tuned in, because that's more on the side that I need to be more educated on.
Appreciate you.
I had a great conversation with Tierra Trinice. She was talking to me about, the ideal of someone being able to run for mayor. These things, when you're growing up young, Black, you don't necessarily know these things, or you're not exposed to it enough to where you feel like, hey, no, I do need to be involved in this. Maybe this is something I need to pay more attention to.
And that podcast will serve that too. It's serving that too, because we are trying to build a new generation of leaders.
Where can they find it?
Leaders. Please find us on YouTube at That Part Podcast 305. All right, we appreciate you. We'd love if you go to YouTube to check it out. We have a new episode every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Shout out to Janae Tate from Harlem News, man.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, please also go to justvoteperiod.com. You know what I mean? I don't know if you got a lower third down there. Please give me that love.
Yeah, we're going to drop all of them at the bottom. Just vote one more time.
Justvoteperiod.com. Follow us on Instagram as well. Same thing. Just vote, period. I appreciate y'all so much.
All right. And y'all hit the like, comment, subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell, so anytime that they do drop a new episode, you'll get updates on directly to your phone. You just hit that link and you'll be able to access the information.
That part.
All right. And also follow 828.podcast on all platforms. Also follow the AV Club Studios. If you have any inspirations to create a podcast, you need someone to help you creating with the lights, natural lighting, 4K camera, hit us up.
They got it here, boy. I ain't gonna lie to tell you.